Welcome in, everybody. It's time to kick off September here. It is going to be a hell of a month. I figure, well, I promised you last week I was going to try and have on what I call the used car madman, the genius behind what's up in the used car world. And it turns out I was right. I was able to get my man, Jasen Rice, to join me. Jasen, how are you today?
I am awesome, man. This weather's warm though, but I'm feeling good.
It is warm, almost no matter where you are right now. It is warm, that's for sure. Look, we appreciate you making the time. So I'm excited to have you on. I've watched your content from afar for quite a while. I really dig what you do. I think you do a really honest job of helping people understand the market. So before we get into anything, I wanted to thank you for that, both educating me and dealers alike. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate it. I like giving back to industry that's blessed me so well.
That's what I like to say, right? We can't get here without having built it together with the industry itself. So I totally like that. Well, Jasen, as is customary this year, it's the guest call, what they want to talk about, what their passion is. So tell us, what are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about lead management and the best way to attack it. Now, again, wrapped mostly around used cars, but everything that we talk about can be applied toward new. But I started selling cars off the internet in 1998. And so you're talking 20 something plus years of lead management that hasn't really changed. And I think it's time to. I think the way we've done it, the metrics that we look at need to be reevaluated. And there needs to be another set of metrics that are probably as, if not more important.
Wow. This is incredible. Okay. So for any of you who don't know, haven't watched the show before, my journey started the exact same time as Jasen Rice, 1998, dealing with leads in the internet in a small closet via a fax machine. Is that fair to say, Jasen?
Oh, yeah. Right? That's right.
That's how you did it on Mondays. So we were closed on Sundays in my state for a blue law reason. So Monday mornings, finance office just littered with leads from the weekend, from the likes of Auto Trader and just anything old in that day, dude. So lead management, obviously, I love it. I have a huge passion for it. I've been building those processes, since I could, right? Since you were given those leads, you had to find a way. It wasn't like the Rolodex selling cars. I had to figure out a different way to organize how I was going to follow up from the way that I was doing it with traditional leads. You talk right off the get here, the metrics. So let's talk about what metric base do you want to set as what we've traditionally been doing? Why don't you give us that?
Well, let's talk about internet closing percentage. Okay. All right. That's an easy one. And here's why. So that number doesn't matter up until you understand the impact of the inventory. So by combining inventory into these metrics, it really kind of throws that off. So here's why. One of the things that we found is 60 upwards of 80% of some of these active dealers, their active leads sitting in their CRM are on cars that sold. So customer submits a lead, a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, the car sells. I got an active lead in my CRM. I'm still calling an email about a car that sold. I guess if you're progressive enough, hopefully maybe you're trying to switch them to something else. So let's take that number. Let's just say in our demo, sometimes we display it as 65%. So if I was to take 60 days of active leads, and let's say for easy math, there's 100 of them, 65 of them can't buy the car they wanted anymore. That only leaves 35 active customers still left in my system that can still buy the car they wanted today. If we took an industry average of a 10% closing percentage of those 35 customers that can buy the car today, that's only 3.5 deals, or let's round it up to 4. And again, 4 deals on 100 leads is a 4% closing percentage, and it looks like you suck.
It does look like you suck. And it's interesting because when you tie it back to that, right? In my world, I look at the marketing data a ton, right? So from like the third-party sites and all these things. And you'll see in the given month, like a dealer will see a huge spike in email leads where they average 12 a month for 2 years. Then all of a sudden they get 40. And you think to yourself, wow, everyone's like, oh, the vendor comes in, they're biting their chest. Aren't we great? It's like, well, no, you're not, because this dude had one car that generated 37 of those leads. This isn't that impressive if you want to get that granular. how did you not stumble, but what brought you to tying inventory to this count? Is it to be fair to the actual like people in the position? Is it to give better context to the existing data
Well,
set?
What happened was as we got dealers better with used car inventory management, my assumption was their used car closing percentage would go up. And it didn't. It actually was going down at a lot of stores. And I'm scratching my head going, what just happened? And so, you would think if somebody was carrying 100 units, selling 60 off of it, and then all of a sudden we get them carrying 100 units and they're selling 100 to 110 units, again, the internet closing percentage would go up. And it didn't. And so example, some of our dealers have 80% of their active leads on cars that sold. Because this dealer, instead of getting 1 or 2 leads on a car and a car sells and there's 1 lead left, he's getting 4, 5, 6 leads on a car. The car sells. Now there's 5 leads left. So that same dealer who's a better operator that has 80% of his active leads on cars that are sold, 20 leads would be left. He would have a 2% closing percentage. So that opened up my eyes. But back to your point, this whole lead to appointment ratio, that number throw out the window too, because going back to what we found here, like you said, 1 car has 30 leads on it. And so what the other metric we found is about half of your leads are on only about 10 or let's just say 10% or about 10 units that you have on your lot.
Yeah, using the 100. Yeah, using the 100 unit.
Yeah, using the 100 thing. So if you have 100 units, half your leads, and what I want you to equate, no one really does this, but I'm trying. If you equate a lead to an activity, right? If I got a lead, I'm going to call or email. I'm going to create an activity.
Yeah.
So if a lead equates to an activity, what I'm telling you is half the activity that your team is doing, the calls and emails, are only going to impact 10 cars or 10%. So 90% of their activity that they're doing has nothing. It is so you got 90 cars then that have to split the other half of this leads and or activity. So internet closing percentage doesn't matter until you understand how inventory is impacting it. Same with not just the performance of our team, like, hey, how come you only had a 8% closing percentage this month? Oh, I got a bunch of bad leads is the excuse. Or if we go back and want to reevaluate, should we cancel Auto Trader, cars.com? Who should we cancel? We're going to look at our internet closing percentage and really the impact was a lot of times. I had a dealer that was on, he was talking about a third-party vendor, I'll say cars.com, and he was thinking about canceling it. And I took our tool. I said, hold on a second. You had 30 leads from them and 28 of them are on cars that can't buy any longer. And then the 2 that are left, you haven't contacted 10 or 15 days. So is it fair to then assume that, cars.com is the problem? Where did these active leads on cars that sold? What's going on with those things? What could you regenerate with it? So, I liked when you said that because, so when I have 1 car getting 30, 40 leads on it, I'm doing 30, 40 activities on it. How many appointments can I actually make on 1 car, even though I got 30 leads?
The most you can make is, the most you probably have to make is 3 anymore. I don't know. Is the first appointment buy now? It wasn't like that in 98.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason? Right? When you got an internet lead, it was like this dude was, internet leads they've just gotten less savvy. Because in the beginning, if you knew how to look for cars on the internet, you had a better idea what you were doing. Now I feel like they've dumbed it down so far that everyone, the people that submitted leads sort of just, they shotgun it. They go across the nation. So let's assume 3. You can make 3 appointments on 1 car.
I know exactly. When you have 28 leads and you got 25 left that you can't make appointments on, and you're not going to be making appointments on. So, when you look at leads to appointment ratio, that number, up until you understand how the inventory is impacting, it's not a good metric. Now you have a baseline that you've had for years and you want to decrease that baseline or increase it, right? So that's fine. But again, just understand sometimes lack of performance isn't the lack of performance in those metrics isn't due to sometimes performance. It's a lot of times the inventory setup.
I didn't so when we started Car Biz, it was kind of a similar, like 10 years ago, the client brought me, it was my first client ever, kind of brought me our first problem. And it was about his BDC. It was centralized. And everyone was like, look, we don't understand when we get the appointment to the show, to the sold, like what are we missing? And I've always looked at the middle of that, which is the contact rate, right? So let's talk about close rates. Well, I used to factor close rates off of contacted leads because the close rate wasn't really an opportunity on the initial part of the lead because they hadn't been they didn't reply back. We did our job. We followed the predetermined 14 contacts and 18-day setup, whatever it was.
Yeah.
We did that. We didn't make contact, but we made contact 75% of the time. So then my metric was based on that 75, right? Because I was trying to be fair to the performance that sometimes lead providers put out BS or they get kind of, less than quality leads. Okay, we'll account for that there. This is sort of next level to prove a point of how, because your point when you talked about getting this dealer better and you were like close rates weren't increasing, right? They were selling more cars, but the rate wasn't going up. Well, yeah, because you've got them to merchandise things within a penny of its life, right? And so you had them in everyone's search in the area.
Well, it was instead of 1 or 2 leads a car, now they're getting 4 or 5 leads a car. They got better photos, or more competitive pricing, and then boom, what am I doing with the rest of these dang leads that are left there?
Right. And switching is nice to hear, Jason. It really is, but in today's market, it seems even less applicable than when we started. It just seems much more difficult. People's tastes seem to be very specific with the ability to have things shipped and moved all over the country in any way they choose.
I would almost disagree with that a bit. When it's a slower economy, it's, a lot of people are going to be segment and budget loyal over, brand. They're going to say, man, I need a truck and all I got is 30 grand. That's all I can afford. I'd like to have that Ford, but if I can't, I guess I'll settle for a Chevy or a Dodge, but the thing is, who's offering that up to them? The other thing that we found when we trying to switch customers, it's, hey, I'm sorry that Focus sold, but are you open to other cars around 20 grand? Because if you are, have these now, instead of trying to sell them something, you're trying to help fill a void or a need for them. And that's where you start earning business and following up with them that way, because now you're just trying to help instead of sell. And so that's the other aspect. If you can actually benefit, they have to buy something else. They have to. It's not a new car and new car factory. They're going to have to buy different equipment, different mileage, different features, maybe even a different brand or segment. But they'll, if they're in the market to buy a car, offer that switch opportunity. Yeah, because again, the days of, like we're talking, the days of selling, it has kind of went away, especially through COVID. It's like, on to the next car, on to the next dealer, because that car sold and now they're going somewhere else anyways.
Right. And that's funny you say that though, too, because I was basing mine on a new car experience. Like you said, you were having this discussion under a used car. In a new car world, if you didn't have the car and people didn't want to trade it off because everyone knew it was a hot car, customers would go wherever they could to find it. Right. Mm-hmm. But you're right about COVID and how that changed things. And people got used to hearing no when they called about a car's availability or emailed about one. So they already had 3 more tabs open to go to 3 more places. I want to go back to something here on the metric side of things. Do you believe that the actual cadence or messaging or follow-up should be changed as well, or just the metrics one looks at as a part of their process?
Yes. So here's the thing, and this is, again, what we've done is we've combined these 2 worlds, the CRM and the inventory management tool. This isn't I'm not saying this for a commercial and what we're doing, but no one's done this, and it's opened my eyes going, holy crap, we've done this wrong. So hear me out. Let's say, because let's first get a baseline. Do you agree most BDC internet department follow-up processes are going to be based on the age of the lead? When it's fresh lead, we're calling and emailing every day, multiple times a day. When it's 2 weeks old or a week or 2 old, it's every other day. And then it gets once a week, once a month as that lead ages. Typical. All right.
We agree.
So let me ask you this. If you have a problem with large pickup trucks, they're bleeding through, gas prices are high, interest rates are high, trucks aren't cheap. So if you have 30 trucks sitting on your lot and you're only on pace to sell 10 based on your current sale rate, if you have any leads on large pickup trucks, how often would you want to call and email your leads on large pickup trucks?
A lot more frequently.
Every day, every other day.
Yeah,
what if you have
it would be a much different cadence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What if you have a 30-day-old lead? Is your CRM telling you to call this pickup truck lead every day, every other day when it's a 30-day-old lead?
No, because the CRM is based on a scheduler of date and time, not on unit and availability.
Well, because the CRMs are managing the lead and not the car. CRMs don't talk cars. You can't go into a CRM and say, give me my large pickup truck leads. That's impossible.
No, you can't. You can barely go in there and say, give me my leads to match in the same report, for goodness sake. So yeah,
I know.
Oh, you
So
certainly
that's why I'm teaching dealers. I'm like, guys, hold on a second. You got a problem in your 31 to 45 age bucket. You're not selling enough. These cars are going to bleed through an age on you. If you have any leads on these 30, 45-day-old cars, how often every day. Okay, well, let's go look at these leads. You got a 27-day-old lead you haven't called in 2 weeks. You got a 34-day-old lead you haven't called in 10 days. Now, it's not the BDC's problem because they're probably following the cadence that we've done for 25 years, but that cadence.
Yeah.
So, and then here, let's create this baseline. Do we even know when the customer's ready to buy?
I mean, now technically, I mean, submitting a lead doesn't necessarily mean someone's ready to buy. It should mean larger intent, deeper in the funnel, sure, but no,
they could be doing research for their lease being up in 3 months from now or 6 months from now. They're just starting to feel things out. So why
or their life could change in a dime and then they can't buy a car now, right?
Yeah, that's why I said we don't know if they're 2 days out or 2 months out. So why do we manage leads based on the age of the lead if it's irrelevant to their buying cycle and it's irrelevant to issues on my lot? Because and that's the point. It's like, well, it's because we've always done it that way. Exactly. And this ain't the way you need to do it.
Right.
If you're, go ahead.
The CRM, right? But see, I come back to the CRM. So I'm hoping that I'm assuming you've worked through this, but the CRM, as we've said, is set up to do by date and time. It isn't ready to batch out. How does one change the process? Oh, because trust me, I would love to not do what we've always been doing. I think it would be great. The CRM is what most people use. They're set up to work a certain way.
Okay. Yeah. So again, that's why we created our lot walk tool. You do a physical lot walk. You make sure your cars are standing tall, they're crooked, they're clean, and then any customers are out there being meted and greeted, right? You do a physical lot walk, but you haven't been able to do it on this virtual lot walk that's been around for 25 years because the CRMs don't talk cars, and the inventory management tools like the vAutos, VinQs, Max Digital of the world don't talk customers. And so we got to put these two worlds together to be able to effectively then manage based on the situations on the lot, the things I can control. And so what we've done is taken to say, like, you might have 400 leads in your CRM right now, but I'm telling you, 70% of them can't buy the car they wanted anymore. So let's isolate it down to the 30 that can. Now, of those 30 that can, so that's 100 leads instead of 300, you got 100 now. These are the customers that could still buy the car that they wanted. Well, then top to bottom, I need to be contacting those customers on that truck situation, on my 31 to 45 situation. Let's call and email those customers first, and every day, every other day, to get my sale rate back up on these trucks so I don't have to keep dropping pricing to lose gross just to try to get a lead. Then the second go around is the switch. Again, here's an active lead on a $40,000 truck that's sold. So let's see if there's any other $40,000 trucks in inventory that you could sell them. So again, we combine these two worlds because here's the other metric. Here's some other stats to put down. So what I'm telling you is half your leads are on 10 cars. Okay. Again, let's assume we have 100 cars in our inventory. Here's the other metric I'll tell you. Half your cars have no leads. So does your BDC department, and I'll show you stats. I've sorted this inventory 10 different ways, but let's say we sort your inventory by highest lead count to lowest lead count. And I'll show you cars that have 30, 19, 11, 12 leads on them. So guess where 30, 19, 11, 12, I guess how many contacts those cars are getting? They're getting all your contacts, right? Those tend to be the age cars that we're losing money on, but yet those are the ones we're getting a bunch of leads on, and every lead creates an activity. So every half our activity is just done on 10 cars. And my point is, I showed a dealer this. I said, this car has 19 leads on it. How much work do you think it's going to take to sell that car? Probably not much. If you don't even call or email these customers, they're going to show up and be like, hey, no one got a hold of me, right? But yet we're going to do 19 calls and emails to that car. Forget lead. We're going to do 19 activities on that car because I got 19 leads. Then I showed them a 60-day-old 2020 Ford Escape with 50,000 miles on it at 22 grand, a cheap $400 a month SUV that's 60 days old. And I said, you have no leads on this car. How much? If you have a BDC department and you have a car with no leads, how much work is your BDC department helping you get off that car?
It's a matter of wasted time now, Jason. Now I'm all like, I'm all frustrated because this is not how people should be spending their time. They shouldn't be having to follow a built-in cadence to the CRM that is nothing in ways related to what exists within the actual lead and vehicle availability.
I envision most BDC people, they show up to the office, They're not part of the sale crew. They're paid hourly plus appointment ratio. They go grab their lunch. They go upstairs or whatever, like you said, the closet with the fax machine. They sit behind a computer, and any leads they get, they call and email them. But let's forget about working leads. They don't work a car unless they get a lead on it. You got a 60-day-old car with no lead, they're not working that car for you. As a used car manager, they're not helping you at all. They're going to do the 19 calls and emails on that car over there. And that's why I talk to used car managers, like, if any car needs the most help, is it this 2020 with no leads, or that 2020 with 19 leads? Well, that car down there with no leads. Okay, well, what are we doing about it? Because you have, and so what? You either drop pricing, or that's where we're coming in and say, yeah, but you got 20 switch leads. These are active leads in your system that was looking for the same segment, same price point. Of those 20 switch leads, can we talk to 5 of them to get on this escape? But we don't, because here's the thing. This is what I'm talking about. We'll do 200 calls and emails because I got 200 leads. But what I'm telling you is that's only on half your inventory. How much work are you going to do on the other half? So we're just reacting up here. How much proactivity are you doing, being proactive on these cars down here with no leads?
Okay. All right. Look, here's the thing. When we started talking, right, I didn't realize that you and I were walking into a situation where there was a solution available for this. So if this is what you're telling me, is that you have a solution to bring to a BDC, to sit in front of them and say, look, here's the thing. Here's your leads by vehicle. Okay. And here are the 20 switch opportunities you have. And here are the vehicles in your inventory that you should switch them to. This is something to me that could seriously change the way we do follow-up forever. So Jason, is that what you're telling me? Is that you have this product available for dealers to use?
Yes. And it's just an add-on. I mean, it's a CRM extent. We're not a CRM. I'm not a lead
I understand.
Matter of fact, I don't have phone numbers.
Like anybody good API.
Yeah, we don't have phone numbers or email address. We're just grabbing CRM data, which we integrate with 12 CRM, APIs, the lead. Right. And yeah, we do that because, again, as I'm looking at this over, that's why I was looking forward to this call. I'm like, all right, he don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw him this because he's going to love this. Because this is what I'm saying. It's just like, we've been doing this for so long and nothing's changed. How this industry's changed so much, but yet we're going through a cadence that we've done for 25 years. We're following KPIs.
That's because we're so worried about getting the damn lead, Jason. We spend so much money and time in an actual acquisition of leads. And to your point, if I started to take your data and tool it into what we show our clients on the marketing side, and we started to say, hey, how do you feel about this contract, given the fact that it only generates inventory leads on 25%? Should we be paying this much? Is this as valuable to us with that, dude? So yeah, I mean, this for having done this as long as I have and know. But let me also jump in, because if we're going to talk about the process of follow-up, you don't really still believe the call email thing, do you? There's greater ways to be following up, whether it's text, whether it's video, right? So there's even more to this than that for you.
Yeah, and but that's my fear too. All this AI, and we could do text automation and stuff and follow up. That's my fear. A lot of these CRMs are telling dealers to give up on the lead after 7 or 10 or 14 days and let AI follow up. And I get it, because there is a manpower issue. But here's the thing. I mean, it's just like advertising, right? Do you totally cut out radio, print, and TV, even though internet's going to drive majority of your business? No, you should still, whatever the number is, 70-80% toward the internet.
Is what I say. Be well-rounded.
Yeah, throw some money at some radio, throw a little bit at put a billboard up. Yeah. And then, but yeah, 80% your activity is going to be online. Okay, great. Same with follow-up. Okay, I get it. 70%, probably more effective texting than just calling, voicemail, and email. But doesn't mean you stop email and stop calling, picking up the dang phone. So yeah, I mean, there are the videos, social media messaging to text messaging. Those things. But again, what's hard with all that is you got, the legal stuff. I can't text message a customer from my own cell phone. It's got to be done through the dealership's CRM. So it can be tracked. So they know what I'm saying. You can't.
Yeah, no, there are certain things, right? Yeah, if you just pick the phone up and you just call, you follow guidelines that are within that. I agree with that. And you said something about you said about the manpower issue, right? Which I believe. Okay, fine. AI fixes that. Well, see, no, to me, it doesn't, because it's going to just yield results that computers yield. Yeah. What you're talking about is being more efficient. And that you can't, if you have a manpower issue, guess what? Time to be more efficient.
Well,
I saw a stat today. My buddy Nat Berman, he texted or put up on LinkedIn that 80 like 70% of companies only complete like less than 10% of their projects in a given year. Just
wow.
things just don't get done, right?
Yeah.
If that's the case, we need to be more efficient, not hire more people. And that's what this is.
Yeah. And so to prove that point, what I'll do in our system, and again, and hear this out, I'll take, let's say you have 500 leads. I'll make you more efficient, narrow that down to 200 or whatever. But here's what happened. Here's what's going on. And it's cool, these screenshots I'll share. I could take all your leads and say, okay, give me all the leads on cars that sold, and we don't have any switches, so we have nothing else to talk to them about. An example was like an '07 BMW that was like $8,500. The car sells, and it's a 30-day-old lead, and we called them yesterday. And I'm like, why did you call and email? Not to give up on the customer, but what's that conversation? Okay, you have the $8,500 Mercedes is gone, and you have nothing else to talk to them about. You just saying hi. And then there was another one, a 40-day-old lead on a 11, like a Chevy Terrain or Trailblazer or something like that for like $7,000. Again, no switch, but we called them yesterday. Why? Because we're supposed to do a 30-day phone call and a 40-day phone call, and we completed the task. In the meantime, I took their active leads with cars still in stock, the people that you can actually sell a car to today, and I showed them a 35-day-old lead they haven't called in 28 days, a 34-day-old lead. Yep. And these, the customer could still buy the car, and those are, because all we're doing is factory. It's like, we call it processes on purpose, because right now all you're doing is factory work. 3-day call, punch in the clock, 3-day call, 14-day email, 21-day text. No rhyme or reason to the customer's buying cycle, no rhyme or reason to the issues on your lot, but that's how we've always done it. So let's put some purpose behind your day, BDC manager. And the used car manager sits down and says, hey, here's what I need you to work on it. All my truck leads, I need those called today. Anything that $30,000 to $35,000 cars, I need those work today. And anything that's over 60 days old, any leads you have on cars over 60 days old, I need those work today. Go. Now that BDC person has some purpose behind their calls and emails and what they're trying to accomplish for the day. And instead of weeding through 500 leads, I'm giving them the 80 that are the most effective, both in stock and or switch leads. Forget the guy that on a car I can't sell nothing to anymore. And that's efficiency there. And again, it has to do with at least what's happening on my lot.
That's beyond efficiency, because it's weeding it out, as you said, right? So the biggest reason for the cadence, in my opinion, was to figure out who people were and who people weren't, right? As soon as you could. Make contact, see if you can get in front of them. But it was because you thought you were approaching the buyer based on the ability to sell them anything, and just get a hold of them. But you're right. What are those conversations? If he picks the car up, you don't have anything that could be switched to that. But now there's a way to narrow this down. There's a way to take all of that data, all of this follow-up, all of these activities, and start saving these people from sitting here and just saying, call 4, yes, complete, great. Call 6, complete, great. Like, even though we try to change the messaging along the way, in our follow-up, I don't know that there's a lot of definite variation, but are you also going as far into the messaging part of this, Jason, when you are going to be following up on the switch or the hot or the active or the 60-day? Do you have messaging that you start to believe in or have seen work?
No, I mean, one with the switch. Yeah, we'll just tell the customer, take this lead that's on a car that's sold, that has, you have other things to talk to them about, put them down as different sales funnel, maybe name that process sold but switch. And then now you're going to purposely email them saying, or text them, hey, that car's gone, but are you open to other makes and models in that price range? And then follow up again. If so, here's a Ram. Follow up another day or two. Here's an F-150. Start planting those seeds. And here's the thing, what we found with that customer submitted a lead on an F-150 30 days ago, and the truck sold, and they know it did because they went to double check, and because they're going to think about coming in. You said, yep, your email templates are going out saying, hey, you still interested in an F-150? And they like, no, I know it's sold. But anyways, you start throwing them a Dodge Ram and a Silverado. Eventually they'll be like, what the hell is this? I didn't reach. Why are you sending me a Ram? Right. And be like, oh, sorry. We're just, that car sold. I'm trying to think, now we're seeing people kind of engaging because of that.
Yeah.
Throwing a curveball at. But here's the other thing. We would do that on the showroom floor, right? The two things we would do on our showroom floor, we wouldn't let a customer sit for 10 or 15 minutes and not be helped. We'd up them and say, hey, has anybody helped you? That manager would throw a chair through the window if he's seen people walking around not being meted or greeted. But yet that same manager don't know there's leads in there having to follow up for 20 days. The next thing is a customer comes in on a sold car. We don't walk up and say, hey, that car's sold and turn around and walk away. We try to switch them. And we've had this happen. You go back to the desk and say, hey, he's here on a sold car. He's got to get going. The manager goes, hold on a second. What do you want? Well, you want that F-150. All right, well, show him that Silverado in back. And the salesman says, yeah, but I already talked to him about it. He doesn't want it. And your manager goes, I don't care. Pull the thing up. Has he seen it? No, I just told him, okay, go grab the keys, go pull it up and ask the customer, give me 2 minutes and you're going to show him that freaking truck. And then you'll see if he doesn't like it or not, right? So we do that stuff on the showroom floor, but we've never done that with leads. And the fact that these two worlds have, I would say, collided, meaning, like you said at the beginning, the internet customers are savvy. We could talk to them. We can earn their business by giving them more information that they're having a hard time feeding. Now they got all the information. Now everybody's on the internet. So it's just every other customer. So why don't we do... We've always said we should treat our virtual app like our physical app, but yet we don't, because we have two different silos, CRM and inventory tools, that don't talk to each other to be able to do that.
It's just another silo that exists that blows my mind. I wonder, I wonder if any of the new age guys are really working down that angle to tie those together. But it doesn't matter because you have, and you've already worked through it. You have the answers for this. Dude, I think this is a tremendous, tremendous part of what's missing in the world. And I think that BDCs are really, are really hungry for this. I think a lot of them, I can't wait to talk to my BDC expert friends about this and really get their feedback on how something like this is implemented, because it's something that now gives you the chance. We used to always complain, or people used to always complain about the internet was cherry picking leads. Well, now you could actually do that, but with intent, like a reason to go through and filter out the trash to get you the actual pieces. Right?
Yeah, if you're a BDC department or an internet person, you're getting bonuses on appointments and show ratio. What would you rather do? Weed through 300 leads, or the 100 that still have something in stock, and or the ones that the managers want to get aggressive on and getting out the door? Hey, if you're really interested in here, because my manager is ready to blow these trucks out, when can talk about increasing your pay plan too? Because now you got a low funnel. Now you got a lower funnel person in there with the backing of the management team going, get them in the door.
Work your pay plan, baby. That's the whole goal here. That's why they put them up, right? That's why they change them. All right. It's because you figured out how to work them, but get into it and really figure it out, because if you could be more efficient on your 300 leads, man, it is crazy to me to think about that data, Jason. You said did you have something you wanted to share or no? A screen share?
On the screen wise?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know what? Let me show you this too. This will blow your mind.
Yeah,
we're just winging it here, so this is fun.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing.
Let me go. I'm gonna. This is a little PowerPoint. Wow, this has nothing to do with anything. I'm going to show you this. So this right here, and then display setting. You can see it, right?
Yep.
All right. So this is what I was talking about. These are these are, active leads. So I sorted the cars by most leads, 38 leads, 19, 12. So again, these are the cars that are making a ton of money, or a ton of activity is being done there. But they're older cars that we're losing money on. Again, we go back to like these cars here. There's no leads. So does a BDC department, does that person even know the 2020 Ford Escape exists on your lot? They don't, because they have no leads. And again, a lot of these are aged that we're already losing money. So don't drop the price. Here's 34 active switch leads you could talk to that was interested in a compact SUV around 22 grand. So do that. So, but here's the, let me show. So then there's fresh cars. We want to increase our fresh sale rate. Turnaround time's a big struggle for dealers, right? Getting a car fully photoed, ready for sale. Well, why do we got to expedite that? Well, I need it online so I can get activity and some leads on them. So these fresh cars have, there's the gross because they're fresh, but they have no leads. So your BDC internet department's not doing any work to help you get these cars gone, because they're not looking at these switch opportunities. You don't need the photos and everything done right now. You got 35 people you could talk to that was looking for a similar vehicle at that price point. So here's what happened was, this is the part I wanted to get to. I went to, and I've done this multiple times. This happened to be Vin Solutions. I grabbed Vin Solutions and looked at all the activity that each BDC person did. So we might be proud at Taylor here doing 125 calls and emails yesterday. Great job, Taylor. Here's the problem. Of those 125, only 28 of those calls and emails had a vehicle still in stock that Taylor could have sold them. So what I'm telling you is, look at everybody. On average, 79% of the calls and emails that the internet department did had nothing to do with cars still in stock to sell me, to get my inventory moving today.
Jason, how does that work into the Switch world though? Like that seems vacant of that discussion. So where does that fit into? Or is
here's
that
those
already void of that?
Here's that example. Like I said, here's that 40-day lead that on an 07 Mercedes, $8,500. I had no switch opportunities, but we called them a day ago. And that terrain, that again, no switch, but we called them a day ago. And then this was those active leads, 30-day lead. We haven't called in 28 days. You know, that was happening. So the way the switch would work is what we do in the tool is, I'll back it up here, is this. So, well, here's some more stats here. Oh, you'll like this. So I took day gaps. So 0 to 7 day leads we're supposed to call every day. So I gave it a 2-day gap. 8 to 14 day lead every other day. So I gave it a 3-day gap and on down the road. And so I separated and I said, okay, if it's a 0 to 7 day lead, the car was still in stock, 26% haven't been contacted in 2 days, 40% haven't been contacted but out of stock. Then I looked at these 15 to 30 day leads. Still fresh, 51%. The car was still in stock, haven't been contacted in at least 4 days, 61% if it was out of stock. Now, of the 3,800 leads, 2,500 of them couldn't buy the car they wanted anymore. Okay. And so what we did there is said, okay, of those, 987 had a switch opportunity. There's other cars that fit in their segment. We do segment is here. I'll break it down right here. Large pickup truck. And we do 2,500 below, 2,500 above. So an active lead on a sold large pickup truck priced at 40 grand. If it's sold, we'll suggest other large pickup trucks, 37.5 to 42.5. So of the 2,500, 1,000 of them had a switch opportunity, but 77% have been contacted in 5 days. So here, how does that work? So this John guy, he's a 13-day lead. He's on a 16 Ram. It's gone. That's why this customer's walking here. It's gone, sold. But did he need a 16 Ram or is he looking for a 30 grand truck? Because if he does, I got 11 in stock. And this is where the BDC internet department, when they pull him up in here, I can say, here's John. He's interested in this truck. It's gone. But ask him about this Lariat, this Ram, this F-150. There's 11 vehicles at my store. Here's the kicker. This dealership's a Ford store and he has 2 Mitsubishi stores. So what then I did, because they're all 3 in our tool, there's 7 other trucks at the other stores that could fit this customer's need. So not only I take an active lead on a sold truck that's only a 13-day lead, that's probably really just looking for a 30 grand truck. I'm introducing them to 11 on my lot and 7 at the other dealership. So I got 18 other vehicles I offer this customer to see if he's still in the market. Wow. So, you know, do we want to be calling it? So that's the efficiency we're talking about. Instead of 79% of my activity being done on cars that I can't do nothing with or leads, why don't I, this whole stuff right here, you know, why not, or whatever it went, why I need 79% of their activity they're doing has to be with vehicles in stock, not 79%.
To be more efficient. There's just no way around it. You know, I am an activities tracker for a living. I don't get into, you know, attribution. I think the word is stupid. I don't give credit to vendors for selling cars because humans sell cars to other humans. It's a whole big thing for me. So when I look at this discussion, I think about how can I be more efficient with my activity? How can, okay, I hear it all the time. Sean, BDC short staff. We got to just get to the low hanging fruit. Okay, but this proves you're not even doing that. So we need to be even more direct and efficient with our follow-up. That's the point of it.
Yeah, and so here's the other thing. The another metric was leads per car. So example, this dealer, his 16 to 30 bucket, this blue line, his leads per car is skyrocketing. It's shooting up 2.4 leads per car, one of his highest buckets. But that number doesn't matter much to me anymore, because if I look at his 25 cars that he has in that bucket, 7 of them have no leads. So 30% of what's in this bucket has no leads. That's a more important number to me than the 2.4 leads per car. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so in that particular bucket, you know, that's the no contact in 2 days, but that particular dealership, I need, hold on. There it is. You know, I need, so there's 2 lines here. One is the leads per car, and then the yellow one is how many without leads. So I think the number, I had a dealer here. He had two cars over 60 days old, and he had 13 leads per car on that bucket. 13 leads per car on a 60-day-old cars. So you would think, okay, I don't need to worry about, but 50% of those cars had no leads, even though there's only two cars. But I think the fact that 50% of what was in that bucket had no leads was more important than 13 leads per car, because that means he had a 60-day-old car with no leads at all.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously impressive to have the 13, but in that small of a metric measurement, it could only be one thing, right? I mean, it could only be bad news from that regard.
Yeah. So real quick, this is, see right here, this 31 to 45 age bucket in inventory. 16% of this inventory sitting there. He's only selling 9% out of that bucket. He's underperforming. He needs to increase the sale rate. So watch this. These are his cars, but in a click of a button, here's his leads on those cars. And here's a 33-day-old lead he haven't called in 31 days. A 28-day-old lead he hasn't called in 22 days. Matter of fact, of the 31 leads that still have something in stock in this bucket, 25 of them, or 80% of them, haven't been contacted in 2 days. Again, where should my focus be? These leads here to help me get this increased sale rate up, or punching the clock for a 14-day phone call?
No, yeah, no, this is what we should be doing, because then again, more than 2/3 of it is switch lead opportunity, according, if I read that right.
Yeah, 161. So here's what we did. You know, that's, as a manager, I need to, and I don't know why graphically this ain't lining up, but this customer, it was on this 19 Fusion, it's sold. So see if you can switch them to this 2020 Fusion. And oh, by the way, there's 6 other vehicles in our database we can talk to them about too. So why give up on the lead? Recycle them. When the customer's already called an email, they've spent time and energy trying to search for a car, and you already spent the money. What are you going to do? Take it, the 30-day lead, and just kill them off because they're on a car that sold, or try to put them on something to get the sale rate back up?
Man,
it's totally, I should say, there's totally different metrics. I don't, I'm looking at what percentage don't have leads. I'm looking at switch closing opportunities, to managing leads based on segment and issues on my lot, not based on the age of the lead. It's a mind change for what I'm going into, to set up both the used car manager and the BDC. They should be working together in one office.
Yeah. Oh, dude, agreed. I mean, again, I think it should be everyone together, collectively, salespeople. You should create almost an open office environment, as far as I'm concerned, because I think people, activity breeds activity, as far as I look at it. So, no, I really like this. What I like about it too, the way that you talk about the actual follow up and the people being involved in the switch vehicles, they've got to be able to look at this and say, hey, we got this. We can switch to this, or we can switch to that. And it's taking all the guesswork out of it, and it's helping them increase their metrics, and it's helping the store move the overall needle. You begin to become more of a business development center, much like you. When I started in 98, you didn't have BDCs, dude. You were the BDC. We were taking photos, uploading them to all the websites, doing all that stuff. Like, it was an all-in-one job. Now it's just about taking care of the leads.
Well, and that's the other part with it. Here, the used car manager's probably been promoted through. They've already worked the internet department. So 9 times out of 10, when I ask them about, oh, that's my BDC's job, I'm like, hold on a second. You got a responsibility here. If you got leads that no one's following up with, as a manager, you should know that and take it. But the other thing is like this car. Look at this Jeep right here. It's a 32-day-old Jeep. They have no active leads at all. He's at 95% of market. And what I could also show you here real quick, and don't worry about all this stuff, but they're already losing $688. If I'm a used car manager, I got a 32-day-old car, and I don't have any leads, and I don't want to drop my price. I'm already losing $700. Well, here's what we did. Because he has no leads, because one was moved to duplicate lead or lost, here's these 9 switch opportunities. A 2020 Escape SE. Corey was on that car. It's sold. Can we switch Corey? I mean, there's some in here that are Jeep Compass leads. Let's call and email these customers. So that's what I'm saying. Inventory management needs to be lead management.
Yeah. So you reverse engineered it. You basically said, look, instead of looking at the buyer, let's look at the car that exists and see where we find the buyer in our database.
Work the cars. Yeah. Activity per car instead of activity per lead. That's what should be going on. Because like we said at the beginning, if I increase my activity per lead, and I know it, that's the first thing we always chased. I mean, my company's been around 10 years now, and we help dealers with inventory lead management still. And our first go-to was, let's take them from 5 activities per lead to 15 activities per lead. And guess what? Appointments didn't spike, the appointment spot, the show did, and sold went, right? and you want to sell more cars, talk to more people. So that made sense. We did that. But now that I'm looking at this too, it shouldn't be activities per lead, it should be activities per car. So I have no leads on here to do any activities, but I do have 9 switches. So I can increase the activities per car, because I can do 9 calls or emails on this car to help move this inventory. So that was the other switch. We're like, okay, and we need to do activities per car, not activities per lead.
The activities per car, what a great metric, because again, the reverse is true. You want to talk about active leads per unit, right? I mean, everyone's willing to have that discussion, but no one wants to go back and look at what's actually happening on those units for the number of activities called, because currently, without you, I'm not aware of any other way to source that or segment that data.
Yeah, and that's a say. So I love to have I wanted to have this conversation because I think you'd appreciate it. I'm like, man, only so many people would understand this, because it gets it's kind of over a lot of people's heads, but that's where, again, you got to slow down. It's not that hard, like I said, it's not that difficult to understand it, but it is a mind shift of how we've always done it. And I'm spending this year trying to figure out this stuff.
Yeah, man. Now you're going to have me spending the rest of my year trying to figure out with people I know about how we get it into places, because at the end of the day, like I said, I know a lot of really, really progressive BDC people. I've been fortunate enough to have them on the show, call them friends. And I think that an opportunity exists that this might be one of the best kept secrets in the car business, because up until now, Jason, I haven't directly heard about it. Like, I haven't jumped in and seen it, So
yeah, I mean, look at this. This is, and I'm only showing you this because you should be able to do this in a CRM. But as you know, you can't look. There's 560 leads this dealer has total, but only 182 still have something in stock. 300. So, but watch this right here. I can go right here and say, give me all leads that are, let's say, 0 to 30 days old that I haven't contacted in 3 days that still have the vehicle in stock. And I could say, sort it down by, give me Auto Trader leads or whatever, price points or whatever. But even at that, there's 101 leads. Talk about, all right, you want to increase your appointment ratio today? Let's call these 100 leads today. The fresh leads, haven't contacted in 2 days, go. But if I want to isolate it to my trucks, I want to isolate it to whatever. But you should be able to go in your CRM and do this stuff. CRM has been around for 25 years.
They can't. I mean, the only place, Jason, that maybe has a chance is Techion, but I haven't looked, so I don't know. I feel like they're the only ones who could even be close to this, because they're sort of revamping that whole world in a different way. But dude, the old guys, as I like to call them, the dinosaurs of the group, there's no way, dude. They're not going to be able to go back and reformat this. They can't even update for privacy shit right now for dealers to be safe from the FTC. Like, they have no chance in trying to re-engineer the system for this.
Then that's it. Well, that's the other thing. A lot of guys, I'm not worried about my trade-ins, I'm worried about purchases. Okay, we take that stuff first. Let's get us our purchase cars that have leads that are 0 to 30 days old, or have been contacted in 3 days. There's 50 of them. Give me my certified car, whatever.
Again, it's no longer work the customer, it's work the car.
Worked a lot.
It's why we had spiffs on cars in Friday morning meetings in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's because the managers knew those things were dated. They knew they needed to go. So they threw a stack of cash in front of you, and you were all of a sudden motivated to switch everyone you knew.
So why don't we do spiffs on date? Here's a new idea. Why don't we do spiffs on dated leads? Hey, this is an age lead. All right, well, let's put a spiff on any lead over 45 days old. You get an appointment on it, or switch them.
Jason, dude, let me tell you something, man. This is great, dude. I am so glad that you brought this to me today.
I thought that we would have fun with this. Like I said,
and
that's hard. And then here, believe me, you've seen me enough, or I've done enough stuff. I don't like sitting there pitching and trying to turn this into a commercial, but it's like, you can't do this nowhere else. And but my point is, I don't understand why this hasn't been done. I don't understand how CRMs have let this.
Look, dude, I appreciate a sale where I don't feel like I'm being sold. And if I'm being straight with you right now, the only reason I've even let it get this far is because I am cool with it, because I have a strict no selling rule on my show. But this isn't selling. You see, this is fixing a problem that exists with companies because CRMs don't change, but dealers need a different view. They need a better way to do things. I didn't name my company CarBiz Done Better because I thought I couldn't do it better, right? So I am passionate about the fact that you are onto something here, man. And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna get some people on this. We're gonna be talking about it. Jason, are you gonna be a digital dealer?
We've been in it for years, and the hard part is having decision makers there, and I was on the board of directors getting Digital Dealer off the ground. I love the conference, but we're still, now that we have this lead stuff, it's more appealing for me to go. I just struggled there a lot because I was so used car focused. And so it was more like, yeah, but now with this lead information, I'd like to. I'm not. I don't know. I don't have any plans as of yet. We don't have a
Right.
booth.
All right. Look,
I've been a couple times. I'm like, yeah, man. It seems like.
Okay.
Um,
I don't want to go either. I don't like it. I took it off for the longest time. I did the circuit. I did things. But here's my thing. I don't really care necessarily about decision makers being there. I think that you could benefit from being in the room with BDC trainers, BDC experts, BDC people who would take this and go, I'm sorry, did you just tell me I could do things that my CRM would never dream of? And that's where the value comes for me, because many people now will tell you that the best way to get a product into the store is to get someone else excited about it, to bring it to a decision maker.
Yeah, but the hard part is the hard part, but believe me, because I was going to be an internet consultant, I still do, I'm basically telling them to change their whole business model. And somebody that's been a consultant and doing this for 20 years, it's going to be hard for them to.
Let's take it back. Hold on. Here, this isn't what this show is for. We could talk about this offline, but here's my thing. Don't overextend this concept to that. I know that's where it is in your head. You and I share a similar brain where you've already taken this all the way to the end point. You know what it looks like to build the stadium, fill the stadium, and have a championship trophy in the locker room. You already know. 98% of people don't. Yeah. So what you have to do is scale it back to the 2% of the vision. I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it in a way where can you find wins and building blocks? To me, it's going into a BDC and saying, you're short-staffed. I've already heard you say it. This is how we're going to be more efficient. That's it. And let it start there. And then maybe get some used car managers excited. The problem, man, is that used car managers want to come and shit on the BDC. So this isn't what this is. And I want to give you a tool to make it easier for you to go shit on people. That's not it. I want to make it more efficient as a dealership to run our product. So no, let's take this offline. I'm so excited about this for you, for everyone. But yeah, dude, I get it. I've never sold. You're only the second person, it's 2 weeks in a row, that has not come on my show and in the pre-show asked me what it is that I do for a living. And the reason is most people, because I don't sell it. I don't put it anywhere. I don't make it obvious. If you know, you know, and you don't, is what I like to say. But dude, you have something that dealers, they don't know they need. But if they can see it through the light of people who have lived it from the beginning of the fax machine, Jason, all the way to the overblown concept of digital freaking retailing, all right? You and I have been here, dude. So great work in what you've done. Thank you so much for sharing it with me, with my audience, and continue to do what you're doing. Just don't scale back your vision. Just scale back the delivery of what you expect people to do with it, dude.
No, I get it. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do. And no.
It's the best way to say it. You can't care more about it than they do, but you can get them excited to care as much as you do. And that's what we're here for. That's the note I'll be taking away from this call too. Thank you. And I appreciate that. And I like your feedback. So yeah, wrap your head around this, get talking, and let me know if you'd like to. I got a whole list right over here about people who need a demo and shit I need to understand. And so we are hip to it. Jason, thank you again, man. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing this with everybody. You have been tremendous. I appreciate it. Hey, thank you. Everybody else, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week as we come up on the following Monday, 9/11. Always an interesting time to look back in the history of our lives. However, we're going to do our best to have fun and make it about the future. Thank you guys so much. Have yourselves a wonderful week.